This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the one, the only, Brandon Swanson.
Hey.
And this is actually the last week that you are going to be on the Onside Kick. This is the end of 3 weeks, almost a month, that Mark has been without us here talking about. First off, welcome into the Onside Kick. If you're new, this is where we talk about football news and analysis and everything going on in the NFL. If you're coming back, thank you for joining us again for another podcast. But Brandon, I want to, like, at the beginning of this, I wanted to get it out of the way. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for stepping up these past 3 weeks, filling in for Mark, because I saw Mark tonight before we recorded the podcast, and he said it pains him to be away from the fans and this whole thing for now nearly it will be 3 weeks after today.
No, I'm sure it does. I know the same feeling. But you know what they say, next man up, and I was happy to do it. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Well, and we got another jam-packed show. Going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns and their situation with Deshaun Kaiser. Going to be looking at Big Ben. A lot of things going on. Where could this be Big Ben's last season? Did he basically say that after the loss to the Jaguars this week? But we're going to start the show, and this is going to be, I feel like we're going to disagree with the little brief kind of discussion we had before we hit the record button. Adrian Peterson, we were originally going to record this on Monday night. We decided to postpone. Thank God we decided to postpone the Onside Kick to its normal night of Tuesday recording, because earlier today, the Saints and the Cardinals work out a trade. Basically, the Saints send Adrian Peterson to the Cardinals. All the Cardinals have to give up is a conditional 2018 6th-round pick. Here's what I want to ask you, Brandon, just to start it off. Adrian Peterson's now a Cardinal. How much can AP help the Cardinals this season?
In what I've seen so far, and I understand that it's limited time that Adrian Peterson saw when he was with the New Orleans Saints. I completely get that, because it was him, it was Alvin Kamara, and then it was also Mark Ingram. I totally get that. But still, in all of that, 27 carries, 81 yards. When you look at the man that they released to make room for Adrian Peterson, Chris Johnson, 45 carries, 114 yards. Nothing glamorous there, nothing glamorous with Adrian Peterson. So you ask me, can Adrian Peterson help these Cardinals in the time that David Johnson's going to be out? My answer to you, frankly, Ricky, is no. I don't think so.
You don't think if he helps the Cardinals?
He is not the same Adrian Peterson. He is not the guy who had 10 or 12 or more touchdown seasons. He's not that guy. And we cannot continue to believe that he is, because he's not showing that. I mean, he didn't even show any bursts when he was with New Orleans. He is at the stage of his career where he's just lucky to be on a football team. Adrian Peterson is not going to change a team for you. Again, that's why Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson, Andre Ellington, you're a placeholder for David Johnson. They got Peterson. But Chris Johnson probably will have done the same thing that Peterson's going to do. That is just, it's not like it's this, oh my gosh, you traded for 2010 Adrian Peterson? Dang, he's going to be good. No, that didn't happen. You traded for 2017 Adrian Peterson, and he had 37 carries for 72 yards in 3 games with the Minnesota Vikings. In 2016, coming off that injury, he was able to play a couple of games, didn't do anything, wasn't effective, wasn't really I was going to say wasn't really fully healthy, then got injured again. Now I think he is fully healthy, at least it looks like he is, but he just doesn't have what he used to have. Well, and quite honestly, I understand that the Cardinals realize they're not getting that. But again, I don't understand why you even you make the move for the name. That's why you make that move. That's why they did it, because the Adrian Peterson name hopefully will be able to bring good stats along with it. It's flashier than Chris Johnson, but they're not getting the stats. That's the whole issue. I don't see Adrian Peterson helping the Cardinals to be any better than what they are right now with their current running game situation, which is quite honestly pitiful, and why they are struggling right now, because they have nothing other than the passing game.
Well, and see, that's why there are parts that I agree with your kind of analysis, your kind of opinion when it comes to AP. The first one is when you say you're not trading for 2010 Adrian Peterson. Completely agree with you. No one's expecting Adrian Peterson to come out of the gate here with the Cardinals and be 2010 Adrian Peterson. However, the thing I look at is, what if he could be just 2015 Adrian Peterson? And the thing I look at is, when you look at David Johnson last year, because this year only played one game, got hurt 11 carries into the year. Last year, this offense with Bruce Arians, they gave the ball to David Johnson. They gave it to him almost 300 times. He was 7 carries short. The Vikings in 2015, they leaned on Adrian Peterson a little bit more than that. He had 327 carries. However, with that workload, Adrian Peterson was able to get over the 1,000-yard mark. And I'm not saying that he's going to be a 1,500-yard rusher with the Cardinals and he's going to have the, 11 touchdowns he had in 2015.
If he ended with those stats, I would probably canonize him tomorrow, because he would have to be a saint. But
the thing that he brings to this Cardinal team is, like you said, the biggest weakness on this offensive side because of David Johnson's injury, is the run game. When you look at their biggest totals, 44 against the Colts, overtime win. You've got 22 yards was your leading rusher against the Dallas Cowboys. You lost that game by 9 points. You had Chris Johnson, 23. You win in overtime over the Niners. And this last game, only 21 yards. You have to do something better. And I feel like the Cardinals, I don't want to say they had to make this move, but I kind of want to say they had to make this move. And if I'm a Cardinal fan right now, I'm obviously not upset with this. If I'm a Saints fan, I'm not upset with this, because we knew after the first game of the season, when the Saints played the Vikings Monday night, that the AP experiment was not going to work in New Orleans. It was a bad fit. We overhyped it in the offseason. Sean Payton and Drew Brees' work was not going to fit with Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is used to, I'm the bell cow, get me the ball, I'm the one you lean on. I open up the passing game by making people load the box and come after the run. Sean Payton's a coach where, hey, you just got to sit back and we'll call your number when it's called. Otherwise, it's the Drew Brees show in New Orleans. So we knew after game one it wasn't going to work. But with the Cardinals, I think he can do some good things. And he doesn't have to be 2010 Adrian Peterson. He doesn't even have to be all of 2015 Adrian Peterson. All he needs to do is give the Cardinals a respectful threat at the running back position. He needs to give them a rushing threat that defenses can't go, fuck it, we're not going to load the box. We'll stay back and pass because we're not worried about your running back. We're not worried about CJ2K back there. We're not worried about Andre Ellington. We're going to stay back. We'll defend your wide receivers. We're not worried about it. He needs to be a guy where defenses have to go, well, maybe we do have to load the box a little bit, and that could open things up for Larry Fitzgerald, for Brown, for the Cardinal receivers, and Carson Palmer.
So one of the things that the Arizona Cardinals offensive line last year did for David Johnson, yes, David Johnson was very good, but they gave him a lot of holes. They gave him a lot of running room. But then on the flip side of that, what David Johnson did and why he ended up being so good, and it's really unfortunate with this injury, is that he created so many things himself. He made so many plays himself. Now remember, he's a young guy. Making those plays, having things happen like that.
Whereas Adrian Peterson is older.
It's much easier to do that. Does Adrian Peterson still have that in the tank? I mean, I know he's still out here, he's still playing, and that is very respectable. I mean, it's very honorable for him to still be out here playing after all these injuries that he had towards the end of his career, and he's still out there. He's still giving it a go. He still has not lost the passion for the game. You love that. But at the same time, how effective are you? How many plays can you make by yourself? The good running backs, the great running backs, they're able to make those plays by themselves. You know, the offensive line helps, opening up the hole helps, but being able to create plays yourself, that is what is going to really, you know, this group's over here, this group's over here. That's what separates you then. And I know I don't want to talk like we're talking like Adrian Peterson's trying to go all through again, all through his career again and start over, but he is not going to bring a whole lot to a Cardinal team at this point in his career, at this point in his skill level. I don't want to say he's lost it, but you played 3 games in 2016. You've played in 4 games now. I mean, you've played 7 games now in a year and coming up close to year and a half. How much do you really have left? And I know you go back to, even if you could give us a glimpse of 2015, you know as well as I do, because we've seen it so many times over the years, how quickly a running back can go from great to, is that the same running back?
Well, and plus he's over the hump when it comes to running. Once they hit the age of 30 and then go past that, it's kind of like, when are you going to fall off? It's kind of like quarterbacks with the age of 40.
Yeah, I mean, but it's unless you're Tom Brady.
Yeah,
but it's
Tom Brady going to play for another 10 years.
It's truly ridiculous, though, in the sense of how good you could be in 1 year, and a year or 2 later, all of a sudden, it's like poof. And now, again, I will say, if this was an Adrian Peterson, who he played 2015, he played 2016, no injuries, then I think we're also talking a little bit of a different story. And I said earlier, and I still stick to it, I mean, I'm sure he's healthy, but how much can he no longer do because of the surgeries that he's had and the injuries that he's had? You know, he's not the same player. He's not the same player. He doesn't have the same body. It's worn down. It's been injury riddled. Hopefully not anymore. If you're the Cardinals, again, you got a name. Good for you. Good for you. You can sell a couple of Adrian Peterson jerseys in the Cardinal logo. That's what you got. That's what you got for this Cardinal team. You didn't get a huge amount of production. I mean, quite honestly, Ricky, I'm not so sure who made the trade. The Cardinals or the Saints? Well, Saints probably called him up and said, it looks like you guys need a running back. We don't need 3. You want to take one?
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. However, the thing you got to look at from the Cardinal side is I don't think the Cardinals are going to expect, and Cardinal fans, I'll say, you guys shouldn't expect Adrian Peterson to be a number 1 quality back. You should expect him to be better than what you had. And that is what I said. Be a respectable threat that at least keeps defenses honest and makes them respect the run game. The Cardinals needed to make this trade, though, and giving up a 6th conditional pick, I think, is just chip change for the Cardinals. I think they can get away with giving up a conditional 6th for Adrian Peterson because David Johnson's, they're hoping, comes back in December. If we just say at the earliest he comes back December 3rd, which is week 13, that is 6 games, and the bye week is in there. So they have 6 games: Tampa Bay, the Rams, the Niners, the Seahawks, Houston, and Jacksonville. You look at that schedule, the 49ers could be a win. You beat them before, and you had Chris Johnson run for 32 yards. Now you have AP, you can win. But most of these teams, this next week is going to be hard for AP, getting into a new system, playing a rush defense in Tampa Bay, which the yards this year, they're a top 5 defense against the run. They've only given up 349 rushing yards, and they're only giving up 3.4 yards per attempt, which is top 10 in the NFL when it comes to rushing defenses. But you got Seattle, they're a tough defense. Houston, I know they lost J.J. Watt, but they're still a tough defense. And then Jacksonville this year has been playing out of their minds. So, I mean, I feel like the Cardinals needed to make this deal in order to just say we need to save the season until David Johnson comes back. Because we can't handle Ellington and CJ 2K or CJ no K this year. We can't handle them as our running backs because then the season will be over by the time David Johnson comes back.
You have one rushing touchdown on the season.
Mm-hmm.
You have just one rushing touchdown on the season. I get that. I get that it's been bad for the Arizona Cardinals, really in terms of most things, because even when the passing game's been good, the rest of the team has struggled. The defense has not been as good as I think a lot of people would like to think that it should have. They certainly didn't look good against the Eagles this past weekend. And quite honestly, it's because David Johnson's not there. It almost all comes down to the fact that David Johnson's not there. He is such a threat in the passing game. He's such a threat in the running game. You keep defenses honest. They haven't been able to do that. And until David Johnson comes back, I don't think it matters if you put in Chris Johnson, Andre Ellington, Kerwin Williams, or Adrian Peterson. They're not going to be a very volatile Cardinal offense because you don't have someone back there that defenses know, all right, we cannot stack the box here. We got to be honest. We got to drop back, drop into zone coverage, stuff like that, because we know that they could be coming right out of the backfield and passing to him as much as he could be running. Yeah. So it's really you just need David Johnson back. Well, quite honestly.
And that's the thing. Like when you said that, oh, he's a placeholder for David Johnson, some people are going to see that as like, oh, you're disrespecting AP. But I don't think you're disrespecting him because that's what he is.
You can't be.
You're not expecting AP.
That's all he is. That's all he is today.
You're not expecting AP to take over for David Johnson. You're expecting him to hold down the fort so that you can maybe win a couple games, because that 2015 Vikings season, the last time that AP was AP, the thing you got to think of too was that season for the Vikings was a very special season. You had Teddy Bridgewater over 3,000 yards that season. Yeah, he got sacked 44 times. We're not going to talk about that. But that was a year where you had them start out 2-2, and then coming out of that Week 5 bye, they get, 5 wins? Then they lose 2 or 3 of 4, and it's like, shoot, are they going to make the playoffs? Beat the Bears at home. Beat the Giants at home. Go on the road Week 17, win the division over the Green Bay Packers, and that was the year they should have beat the Seattle Seahawks in the wild card round in the Golden Gopher Stadium. If only Blair Walsh could kick a fucking field goal, we would have won that game. However, that was a game, like that's that season for the Vikings. It was a very special season. Everything was clicking and then fell apart in the wild card round. And Adrian Peterson was a part of that, had some great games. Am I expecting him to be back to that form? No. But if he can be half of that for the Cardinals, maybe even a quarter of that for the Cardinals, and give them someone where defenses say, we need to respect the run. We can't just double team Larry Fitzgerald and take him out of the game and make Carson Palmer and everyone else beat us. Then it could be it's a beneficial to the Cardinals until David Johnson gets back.
Well, what I could say is Cardinal fans start praying, because I just do not see that happening.
Well, and this is where we will let you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Cardinal fans, what do you expect from Adrian Peterson? Do you expect him to be really good? Do you expect him to be in the middle? Do you expect him to be at the end, kind of not a non-factor basically in your offense? Also, let us know what you think about the trade. You like the trade? You don't like the trade? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.